Hi everyone. We're going to get our finger picking series started, and as I got into this I decided to change it up a little bit. So today we're going to do a part one, and what that is we're going to call that the intro or an introduction to finger picking. And so what I want you to do, you should have your tab. It only has one little chart on it, and that's where we're going to start because for some people there could be a lot of questions on getting this started. So we're going to just start at the top. So the first thing we want to talk about is hand position. What do we do with our hand and how do we finger pick the ukulele? There's a couple different things to consider. If you're holding your ukulele to play, we would normally be strumming up in this area right here. So if you finger picked, you would finger pick right there if you were going back to strumming. Otherwise, if you're picking back in here anywhere, then there's a little bit of a jump there, and you can make that adjustment. So that's a call you would make depending on the song. The other thing to consider is if you have a strap. If you have a strap, well, this completely frees up your strumming hand, and you could basically put it wherever you want to play without any kind of an issue at all. So those are the two things to consider when you're actually finger picking. If you're sitting around and holding your uke, it's probably going to be up in here somewhere. If you want, you can support the uke with your arm here, and you can pick further back. You can go all the way back and support it with your wrist, and you can play way back in here if you wish, and that works fine too. Again, if you have a strap, that makes all this very easy. But if you're holding it, you just have to be conscious when you're finger picking, am I going to have to go to strumming and back to picking and strumming, those kind of deals. If you were finger picking a whole song, you could leave it wherever you want. Now for today, I'm going to position my hand right here, and the reason I'm doing that is because basically for visual. I have black strings. These are fluorocarbon strings that are on my ukulele, so they kind of disappear on the fretboard, or if I get over the sound hole, you really can't see what they are. So I'm going to place my fingers here, but again, this is just for the visual. Okay, so that's the hand position. Now the second thing we want to talk about is actually picking the strings. And you'll notice if you look at your tablature, one of the things that we've done, first of all, we're only going to use 3 strings for this exercise. We're going to use the first string, which is the A. We're going to use the second string, which is the E. And we're going to use the third string, which is the C. And what we've done is we're only going to use 3 fingers. 2 fingers and our thumb, actually. So we're going to have our thumb, which is going to play the third string, or the C. We're going to assign the index finger to the second string, or the E string, and we're going to assign our middle finger down here to the first string, or the A. So the thumb will play the C, or the third string, index finger will play the second string, or the E, and the middle will play the first string, or the A string. Now it's very important that these fingers stay assigned to these strings. We're not going to be moving around right now. The thumb's not going to go down here. The index finger's not going to reach to do this. You want to keep these assigned. Thumb will only play the third string. Index will only play the second. Middle will only play the first. Now the next thing we want to take a look at is actually picking the ukulele. So what I would do is I would spend some time before you try to go through the tutorial, unless you've done this before, is just take these fingers and kind of get used to playing like this. It's different when your hand is floating up above here. Sometimes I will actually anchor with my pinky. I put the pinky on the soundboard so that I can control the distance my hand is away from the uke. That way my hand appears to be floating, but in reality my pinky finger is actually right down here on the body to support it. So you may want to try something like that. When you get up in here, you can actually sometimes use your pinky underneath the neck. Again, it's just giving some stability to the hand is all that we're basically doing, okay? So here we are right here in our position. And again, today I'm just playing right here because of a visual thing, okay? Thumb is on the third string, index finger plays the second, middle finger plays the first. So let's take a look at this pattern. Now, if you're not used to reading tablature, the tablature basically is set out just like the strings on the ukulele. And the way it's set out horizontally is that it reads like music. As you go up on there, you get higher, and as you go down, you get lower. Now, obviously, on the ukulele, we have a reentrant tuning. So our fourth string, the G, which on most instruments would be the lowest string, happens to be one of our higher strings. It's actually one full step below the first string. They're very close together, okay? But that's still how tablature is written. They want you to kind of visualize it as music. So you'll notice that to start right off, the thumb has been assigned right there. We just put it on there and it's assigned to the third string. Index is assigned to the second, and again the middle is assigned to the first. You'll notice that we're going to be counting with 1 and 2 and 3 and. So this is in eighth notes. If you take a look at the pattern, beat 1 is your thumb. The and of 1 is your index finger. And the 2 is your middle. Then you come back on the and of 2 with the index. And then we start that whole pattern again. So very similar to the short strum, it only takes 2 beats to go through the pattern. 1 and 2 and then we're going to repeat 3 and 4 and like that, okay? So the first thing you want to do, get your hand position. Turn off the video if this is something that's unusual for you so that you can practice picking. You want a nice, even sound. On those fingers. Thumb is playing down. The fingers tend to pick up. And if you're not used to doing this, this can take a little bit of time just to get used to it. Once you get control of your fingers like that, then the whole rest of any kind of finger picking, you'll be set to go because it's basically the same. But it can take some time to learn this, just getting your fingers used to picking and the control. Okay? So now, let me set my ukulele down. I'm going to grab my metronome. We're going to use the metronome. This is one of my favorite metronomes. This is as old as my children. Basically, it's a battery-powered metronome, has a wheel, and if you notice, you got that little red arrow that's moving around telling you which tempo you're going to set this at. Well, what we're going to do today, since we're going to be playing at a slower speed, usually the metronome is used to click out your downbeats, your 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what the metronome's used for. However, since we're going to be playing slower, in fact, I'm going to set this right now down to 60. I've got it set at 60, as you'll notice right over here. What we're going to do is we're going to have the metronome click out the eighth notes. So every time the metronome clicks, that's going to be us playing. So let's see if we can get started. So again, you want to have your hand position wherever it's comfortable. Hopefully you've practiced getting a little bit of control when you pick these strings like this so that your hand is stable. It's very relaxed. You don't have to play hard at all when you pick. It's a very light picking motion, okay? So again, let's take a look at sample A here. This is the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and thumb, index, middle, index, thumb, index, middle, index, like that, okay? So let's try this with the metronome. Again, we have this set at 60, and each one of these beats is going to be played. It's eighth notes, so we're going to be doing a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and thumb, index, middle, index, thumb, index, middle, index, thumb, index, middle, index, thumb, index, middle, index, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and we'll stop right there, okay? So that's where we get started. Now, we're going to move the metronome up to 72, just a little bit faster. Again, it's playing the eighth notes for us. And here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and thumb, index, middle, index, thumb, index, middle, index, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, and we'll stop right here. 4 and right there. That was 72. Now we're going to move up to 92. And again, you can stop this video at any time. Go back. If you have your metronome at the end, I'm going to give you all the settings. Right now we've done 60 and 72. We're now moving to 92. Just a little faster. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and thumb, index, middle, index, thumb, index, middle, index, thumb, index, middle, index, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, and we'll stop right here. Good, okay? Now that was at 92. We're going to step it up now. We're going to go to 112. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Thumb, index, middle, index, thumb, index, middle, index, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and we'll stop right there, okay? We're going to make one more jump on our metronome. We're going to take it up to 132, a little bit faster. Again, these are our eighth notes. Every one of those clicks we're playing on. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and thumb, index, middle, index, thumb, index, middle, index, 1, 2, 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and we're going to stop right there, okay? So let's do a little bit of a review here. Holding the ukulele. Again, some of you may be picking up in here. You can pick back here again if you have a strap. You'll notice there's a different tone. I picked here today because I thought visually is where it looked the best. So I would probably pick somewhere in this area right in here if I was finger picking. And I can use my little pinky. I actually support underneath here, or I set it on the top. So I have some bracing for the my hand. It's very difficult to have the hand out here with nothing touching. You can do it, but it's a lot easier the minute you stabilize it and put a pinky down and touch. Now that becomes your support, okay? The other thing is, remember, each of these strings, we're not using the fourth string. The first, second, and third have been assigned a finger. Thumb only plays the third string. Index only plays the second. And the middle only plays the first, okay? The metronome settings we used were 60, 72, 92, 112, and 132. And again, rather than that just being the beats, those were the 1 and 2 and. So every one of those clicks follows along with your tablature of what you were playing. So hopefully you enjoy that. Take some time. Again, if you've never done this, you might want to spend some time just kind of getting used to picking Just get your fingers used to what it feels like to pick those strings if you've been used to strumming and never finger picked. Now again, it's only a matter of time. You'll get comfortable with this, and once you get this pattern down, we're going to have some other patterns we'll do, and we'll take them in the same way. We'll start them slow and build up. So again, this was an introduction to finger picking. Hope you enjoy it.